Hello and welcome to Retrotainment. I'm back here again with my co-host with a capital C, capital O. Greg, how are you doing, buddy?
What's happening, homie?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. We're finishing off our Sci-Fi July here with one of the best, probably, I don't know, is it the best dinosaur film? I would say it's the best dinosaur film.
100% the best dinosaur film.
I'm trying to think of any other ones.
Two, maybe. Two is far more actiony.
I would still consider, it's still part
Well,
of Jurassic Park, though. So
actually, no, I stand corrected. 3 is the best.
Jurassic Park is.
Home Alone 3 is the best.
Home Alone 3.
Jurassic Park 3 is the best.
Home Alone 3 is the best, but
I'll again mention. Don't at me at that.
I know some people don't like the newer ones of these. I've really enjoyed the newer ones.
The ones with Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I've enjoyed them. Like they give me everything I want. Loads of dinosaurs going around eating people. What more do you want from a dinosaur film?
The last one kind of went a bit off the rails a little bit with the invisible dinosaur. But it was entertaining.
It got a bit mental.
As it says, like you go in, you switch your brain off, and you go, yeah, let's watch this for 2 hours.
Yeah, this dinosaur's going to eat some people. All right, good.
And turn invisible, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, in terms of this one, obviously the original Jurassic Park, it's obviously it's not a horror, but like for a kid, this would be considered a kind of horror. A young kid, this could be very much considered a horror.
This is a very, very dark sci-fi along the lines of Terminator, which you can check out in an earlier episode.
Yeah,
it's done that same way. There's a lot of atmosphere built. I know. Carl King will be quite proud of us using that one.
He does like the atmosphere that, but this is a PG film, obviously. But like,
is it not 12s?
No, I don't think so. I think it's PG.
Oh.
Which always, I think that was PG when we were a kid. I don't think it would be considered PG now because you're watching people get like ripped apart. Well, not ripped apart, but like eaten and.
Well, the goat definitely gets ripped apart. The weird security guy gets eaten off the jacks, and you see that.
You see him get eaten, but it's kind of more just like you don't see him.
When you see him when the T-Rex comes up, you can see his legs dangling out of his mouth.
Yeah, but you don't actually see the separation and stuff, which is why I think it did manage to maintain that PG. Maybe it was 12s. I always thought it was PG.
The worst injury you see is probably the one that Ian gets.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But obviously, yeah, Jurassic Park came out in 1993.
Yeah, I was
good. Came out in the summer of '93, which was a great time to bring out something like this.
Did you know that Spielberg almost let this go to make Schindler's List? So
it's like Schindler's List is good, but I'm glad he didn't let it.
Schindler's List is probably one of the hardest watches you'll ever have in your life.
Yeah, it's good. It's not exactly enjoyable. It's good, but it's not enjoyable.
I know, but to be fair, it's a great movie. But if you only watched it once,
that's enough.
Yeah, twice. If you watch that twice, you'll never watch it again.
Yeah,
like I've seen it. I think I've seen it twice, and I'd be hard pushed to put it on.
Yeah, not like something like this. You could sit down and put this on.
Well, I went to watch this with Finn today, and I realized it was gone off Netflix.
Yeah, it's on. It's currently on Now TV, but then I have it on DVD and stuff. So
I have it on DVD, but we ended up watching Ghostbusters instead.
Another great choice, anyway. To be fair,
Finn picked it.
Good. In terms of ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, 130 critics gave this 92%. And an audience score of 91%. So, it is still very, very much critically acclaimed.
That's one of the highest ones we've had overall total.
Yeah. And it deserves it. In terms of a box office, I think this might actually be the biggest one we've had. 1.034 billion, not million, billion would it be?
For 93. Jesus.
Yeah.
So you're talking with inflation, you're probably talking about 4 billion.
Yeah, this is this was a serious big hitter.
Could you imagine Spielberg, like when Spielberg, as I was saying there, Spielberg when he left, so when he shot the last scene of this, he flew straight from there to making Schindler's List. So he left he hadn't and all to people, and he was doing it digitally with them.
Yeah, well, whoever he left it to did a great job on it, because
It's quality.
this looks great. Like, you can even see in the scene behind me there, you know, those dinosaurs look fantastic. Like,
Yeah, so a lot of the smaller dinosaurs in this actually had actors in them.
yeah,
Like the Gallimimus and all were like people running around in them.
I'd say they were fierce
And
hot.
apparently, like there was so many retakes because actors were falling over and all.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine so. Like,
I'd say they had great crack though.
yeah, I'd say so.
But they were in Hawaii, so it's about 400 degrees. I'd say people were getting heat stroke left, right, and centre.
Imagine him being in one of those little suits. Like, Jesus.
Well, what is it? It's 30 degrees, give or take here, and I'm dying.
Yeah, I imagine being in one of them little suits. But in the film, I love the way this opens with what looks like kind of an army lined up with, you know, guns and tasers and stuff.
I love how they have the little shock.
Yeah, the little
The
shock.
cattle prods.
But we see this like container being delivered, and all you hear is like snarling and, you know, rustling and stuff inside it. And they're taking all the precautions. Okay, put it up, lock it in. Okay, lift the door.
Set.
They lift the door and it doesn't go well.
But this is where you see early and quickly how smart the raptor is.
Yeah, they don't mention it's a raptor at this point, but
yeah, but it's not like, if you know dinosaurs, you can tell what it is.
Well, they do. They refer back to it later on that it was the raptors a little bit later on. But yeah, you see the raptor gets a hold of one of the security guards.
He hits that door some fucking clatter though.
Yeah, and he gets a hold of that security guard, and he is a gunner.
Yeah, well, like you see him getting shocked to bits.
Yeah.
If that was me, you just put the security guard down.
I think the security guard does die. Like, they do mention later on that the security
guard he does
dies,
die.
Like, you know, had the bottom half of him chewed up by a raptor. Like,
but like you'd put him down.
You'd be better off too at that point. Like, I know it's hard to say, like, oh yeah, just kill him, but like at that point it was shocking.
Shocking the dinosaur with 40,000 volts, about 6 of them, and still not doing anything.
Yeah, still going around. But after we see that guy get attacked, we get, you know, the great theme song for this. I love the theme song intro for this.
This here's another one of them ones like Jaws and things that Spielberg does, where it's not new music, it's a score.
Yeah, see, and I love that. Like, I love now in some modern films, I do love having the old songs thrown in and stuff. I think it's absolutely great. Like currently Fear Street on Netflix, which Carl King was covering with his daughter Kerry over on the slab. But the music in that is just fantastic. But it's a very different type of music because that's actual songs and with lyrics and stuff. Whereas these, as you say, are just musical scores. And the score, like, I don't think a song would have worked in this sense.
No, if there was words in it, it was never gonna be as good.
Not in this, yeah. In certain situations, songs with like lyrics and stuff work, but in something like this, a musical score is just so much better.
Yeah, that was done so well though.
Yeah, I like that the next kind of scene we see is like we've gone from this gore of someone being attacked by a dinosaur to this dusty old desert where, you know, you're just seeing just people dusting off bones, and it's
so funny.
It's just Dr. Grant and Sattler, and they're just dusting off the bones. And they're trying to use they have that other guy there who's like, oh yeah, with this computer we'll be able to see under, so we won't need to dig anymore. And Grant is just like, well, where's the fun in that? And we see, you know, how terrible he is with children here when he terrifies that child with the raptor claw.
They don't look that bad, and he just pulls out the claw.
Yeah. You said they're like birds. Birds aren't scary. Yeah, well, it'd gut you.
Yeah, with this right from belly to belly.
Yeah, and you know, the worst part, they don't even kill you before they start eating you. Like, this kid is 9. I mean, what a terrible adult to be telling them that.
Did you know who was there was a list of 3 people that were put up for Alan?
No.
So obviously you have I can't think of his name. Sam Neill. Yeah. Who was cast. William Hurt and Harrison Ford were brought up. Obviously, Spielberg going back to Harrison Ford having worked on him with George Lucas with Raiders.
I don't know if Harrison Ford would have worked in that role, to be honest. I think he's too, he's too adventurous or something to work in that role.
Yeah, the young girl.
Lex.
Yeah, Christina Ricci was originally meant to play her.
Yeah, I could have seen that, yeah.
That one could have really been anyone.
Yeah, see, the children kind of could have been anyone because neither of those children were big names at the time. I'd say the biggest name in this was possibly
Richard Attenborough.
Jeff Goldblum, maybe?
No, Richard Attenborough.
Oh yeah, Richard Attenborough would be.
Well, do you know the original person that was set to replace him? Because obviously Attenborough was
Sam
retired.
Jackson as well, actually.
Yeah, 93. Yeah, probably would have been right up there as well. So Attenborough was retired at the time, and he'd been retired for 10 years. So they prized him 3 times. It took them to go and get him. But they had Sean Connery set to go as John Hammond.
Sean Connery would have done that well. Now I'm glad they got Richard Attenborough, but Sean Connery would have done a good job, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see them there, and then obviously Hammond arrives in, and he's like, "I want you to come visit my theme park," and they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I fund your digs." So like,
it's so funny because he comes out of the fridge with a bottle of champagne, he pops it, and he's like, "We were saving that for now."
Yeah, but I love how he's just so they're both like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And they're like, hey, "This is Mr. Hammond who funds our digs," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, the boss." Yeah. So he tells them, you're coming with me to this island, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Now the reason he's bringing them over is we've heard from the lawyer a little bit earlier that they need to get sign off on the island because the investors aren't 100% convinced of the safety. So
after the death,
yeah, so they're like, we need to get sign off, and those are the people that we want to come over and investigate it.
Yeah. So you get your dinosaur experts.
You've got your dinosaur experts, and
you've got your safety guy. You've got Jeff Goldblum, who is going to be the pessimist.
Yeah, well, Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm, who his thing is chaos theory. He said, he looks into the mathematics and things like that, and like what could go wrong will go wrong. He looks for those things to try and get rid of them.
He's not wrong.
No, he wasn't wrong. He was right at everything he said in this. But then we do see their head of security, Nedry.
Yeah, he's some lad, isn't he? He's some bio.
This is one of my favorite scenes where he's sitting there, and like Wayne Knight is just, we've said it before on something else about Wayne Knight, but he's just so good for this kind of
Space Jam.
Yeah, he's just so good at like a blundering idiot for these sort of roles. But I love that he's sitting there like feeding himself, and he's like, "Hey, we got him here. Everybody, nobody cares. Nobody cares you're here.
Don't use my name."
Yeah, nobody cares. And then I love that this guy takes out this case with all this cash in it, gives it to him, and then he like looks at him. You're gonna pick up the bill for this. Don't get cheap on me now. And you're like, I mean, the guy just handed you,
it's probably $1 million, I'd say.
Like a lot of cash there. You could pay for your own meal, And he's like, "Nope, I'm not paying for it."
Yeah. What a man. Might as well stinge him for the free dinner.
Yeah. But we see that his plan is to sneak off embryos to help these guys catch up with the research level that Hammond is at. And we see Hammond arrive with the lawyer, Ian, or Dr. Malcolm, Dr. Sattler, and Dr. Grant. They land in the helicopter.
I love that though, where they're pulling in and you can see the whole island. Is like, where are we going to land next? Just starts descending.
Yeah, it just drops down. But I love that they land and they're in the cars driving along. And he's like, what is it? What's this island even about? And he's like, just over there. And Dr. Grant is just looking at him and just looking at it, and he's like, whoa. And like he's so, enamored by it.
Yeah.
And Dr. Sattler's just sitting there like, this isn't right. What's all this? And he's like nudging her.
He doesn't even, he just twists her head.
He nudges her a few times and then just twists her head, and she's like,
yeah, you see the bronchiosaurus or bronchiosaurus.
They do move in herds. Just such a good line.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The two of them worked. They had such good chemistry in this.
Yeah, and I love like Jeff Goldblum. This is just so good as well. Like he's just so.
Jeff Goldblum is great in everything.
but the character they had him play in this is, like this rock star scientist sort of thing.
Yeah, he is. He's the
And
good
he's
looking.
he's
He's the good
exactly
looking
that, isn't
fella.
he? Yeah, like he's
Yeah.
exactly that. He's like, yeah, I'm really, really smart, but like I'm also, super confident in myself, and I'm not overly concerned about what's going on here. I'm just here to just for the laugh sort of
He's
thing.
he's not your typical scientist.
No, he's not what you'd but they get brought into the actual park itself, and things are being explained like, oh, what'll happen is everyone will come in, they'll be able to roam around, they'll be able to see the dinosaurs. We've got a T-Rex, we've got all this stuff, and
Whoa.
yeah, I know.
You've got a T-Rex.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go for it, you go big, I suppose, don't you?
Go big or go home. Well, like theoretically, if you ask anyone that's not really a mad dinosaur person, name me 2 dinosaurs.
Yeah, you're gonna want to see the T-Rex. You're gonna want to see the T-Rex,
and you're gonna want to see the raptors. Really, they're the only 2.
Yeah, but I love like that he brings them into this thing, and it's like a ride, and like they're put into the seats.
And the bar goes down.
But he has to communicate with the John Hammond on the screen.
This is comedy gold.
Yeah, where he's like communicating with himself, like, "How are you, John? Oh, I'm very good, John. How are you?" And he has to talk back and forwards to himself.
It has to work in perfect timing.
Yeah, but that goes through. Oh, this is how we got it. We found mosquitoes stuck in amber, and then we extracted the DNA. And then it explains how DNA works, and certain bits are missing and they need to be filled in, and we use frog DNA to get past that.
As you do.
It's a good
everything.
Yeah, it's a good explanation of how they get there,
Yeah.
And then they move on to the next bit where you can see the doctor's hard at work and whatnot.
The little machine just turning the eggs.
Yeah, but I love that all the scientists see the doctor's hard at work, and they're like, we need to go in there, and he's like, no, it's a ride, it doesn't stop, and they're just like, right, out we get.
The three of them just lift the bar up, and like, okay, imagine that being a roller coaster. Lift this up.
That's what I was gonna say. That the lawyer sitting behind them, being like, I think you need to fix this ride. There's something wrong here. But they go in, and they go in, and this one we see Dr. Henry, who in this film is fine, to be honest.
Henry
in this film is fine. He actually doesn't do anything wrong in this.
What happened to you, Henry? He used to be cool.
Yeah, he gets very uncool after this film, but for this film, he's fine.
Yeah, you only see him for a couple of minutes.
You see him, and all he does is he tells them we genetically make all the dinosaurs female, so that there's no
reproduction,
no breathing out in the wild, so that everything is accounted for and all that. And we see the little raptor hatch.
Well, I like that though, because that was a thing that they've done really well in terms of reptiles in real life. What they've known is it's a male if it's over a certain temperature, and it's a female if it's under it.
Yeah.
So obviously they just go with that, but that was very smart that they put that in.
This film does that a lot, that where it uses actual science, like even the whole thing of we use a toad's DNA to.
Yeah, because they can survive anything.
Yeah, because their genomes fit in somewhere, like they fit in quite well. Like it is quite intellectually smart. Now I don't know how accurate all of that actually is on a proper level, but at least it gives an explanation.
Yeah, you just have to go with it, really, wouldn't you?
But I love that they see the raptor being born, and it's just this little raptor. It doesn't look that dangerous, it looks fine. It's oh, look at the little dinosaur, it's great. And
Mama.
but this is great when Dr. Henry's like, oh they're all female, so they can't reproduce, and Jeff Goldblum, Dr. Ian Malcolm's just like, nature will
find a way.
Find a way.
Yeah.
I just love how he's he's not confident in what he's saying. He's just like, it'll happen, but he doesn't really know how to phrase it. He should it'll
well he's not
way.
Wrong.
He's not wrong, but he doesn't know how to explain to them how it's going to find a way, because he knows they're going to ask that. So he's just like, life finds a way.
Yeah,
and that's it. He leaves it at that.
Nature finds a way or something, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's life finds a way. But then they go out and they see, some of the animals getting fed and things like that, and we see the raptors in their little cage, and he's like, this is when we get introduced to Bob, who's kind of like the ranger.
He's so good.
And he's
so good.
As a character, he's great, because he's like, listen, these things are intelligent. Like they keep testing the fence. They run at the fence at different parts at different times of the day.
Finding
like,
the weak link.
They're trying to find a weak link. Like they are intelligent. And he's like, we have to feed them in there because if we let them out, they'll find a way out.
As you would.
Which, you know, sets them up to, you know, this is how, like, and this is where he mentions, you know, they killed a guy on the, like, when we were transporting them, like they are smart. Which I like because,
it wasn't even they, it's just one. So
yeah, well,
imagine what they could do in a pack.
And he explains that the one that killed somebody came in and killed off all but 2 other of the raptors to take control of the pack, like.
Yeah, that's the alpha or alphine or whatever you want to call it. It's a female.
Yeah, but I like that he, you know, he makes it very clear that these things are, you know, very like they're the most dangerous animals as far as he's concerned in here.
Yeah, especially because they're small and fast.
Yeah, and he explains that, you know, like it's not, you know, you see the one in front of you and you think, right, as long as I keep an eye on that, I'm safe. But no, because the other one's beside you and it's the one's attacking you.
Yeah.
Like he makes a good point to this, you know.
Well, that's what they'd known about raptors at that stage, I'd say.
Yeah, but that's what they would have known. But like he's, you know, he's now giving that information to everyone. He's like, these things are intelligent. They're not just wild beasts either.
Yeah. Everything's calculated.
Yeah. But once they've done all that, you know, Hammond and the lawyer are like, this is great. It's going to make so much money. And all the scientists are like, hang on, we're not willing to sign off on this yet. Like, we have a lot of questions. And the lawyer's like, don't worry about your questions. Just sign it off. It's fine. Don't worry. The investors will be fine. It's going to make so much money.
He's a dick, isn't he?
He's such a dick. Like, but then they go down to the control center, and that's where we meet Ray, which is Sam Jackson. And he's like,
Big Sam.
He's like, yeah, the headlights on the cars don't work. I've added that to the list of things that don't work. That Nedry's meant to be looking at, but he hasn't looked at yet. And Nedry's just like, yeah, I'll get to it.
I love how here though, like he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna not bother. Just...
Yeah, like there's loads of stuff that's problematic, and we'll get to it eventually, sort of
thing. It's all kind of minor stuff though. It's the fences are working. It's all that matters.
Yeah, so he's kind of like, you know, the cars are breaking down, the system. There's certain bugs in the system, like doors don't. Like the unlock on the doors doesn't seem to work all the time. Lights seem to go out, and so like it is minor stuff, but it is stuff that, you know, you'd want it working by the time you let customers in.
Imagine, sorry, you can't go to the bathroom. Why? Because we can't open the door.
Can't open the doors. Sorry, but they send out the, you know, then they're like, listen, we're gonna take you out on a tour of the park, and Hammond's niece and nephew have showed up as well, so it's gonna be the lawyer, Dr. Malcolm, Dr. Sattler, Dr. Grant, and the 2 kids.
The young lad in this is hilarious. He just won't leave him alone.
I love this though, because it's exactly what a kid like that would be like, you know, because he's clearly in love with like the whole idea of dinosaurs and stuff, and he knows this guy wrote the book, so he's like, oh, I'm just gonna annoy this lad until he tells me everything I need to know.
Which is everything.
Yeah. But I like that, you know, the kid is really interested in dinosaurs and stuff. But even from when they get in the car, Lex is, you know, she's interested in the computer, and she's like, oh, see, look, it tells you where we can go and stuff like that. Like, it lays out that, you know, he's the one. He's the one who knows about dinosaurs. She's the one who knows about computers. And in this sense, she's the like cool one, and he's like the nerdy one. Even though in a lot of things, being the one that knows all about the computers is the nerdy thing.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Just knowing more about dinosaurs is like even nerdier.
Yeah, for sure. It's brilliantly built up, and there's the subtle bits that they show you, like there, for instance, with the computer. She's good with computers, right? Yeah. Which is helpful later on.
Yeah, and him knowing about dinosaurs does help them a little bit in bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, but like, it's the subtle little bits they've done.
Yeah.
And how easily it's put into a movie that makes the movie better.
Yeah. What I like here is that they go off on, like, you know, their little, like, they're in the car and they go past one set of dinosaur thing and there's no dinosaurs, and then they're like, oh, this is the T-Rex paddock. We'll let out a goat here. And they're all sitting there and nothing happens, and then Ian Malcolm like taps on the camera and he's like, so this dinosaur park, we gonna see any dinosaurs, or what's the story?
I love Lex here. What are you going to do with the goat?
Yeah.
Ever had lamb chops?
No, I'm a vegan. Well,
I'm a vegetarian, yeah.
I'm a vegetarian, yeah. But they, they're going along, and then they see the sick Triceratops, and well, Grant sees something. He sees a car off in the distance, so he just gets out of the car.
Why don't the locks on the car work?
Exactly, that's what the lawyer says. That those locks should be, that should be more stable. But I like that. While this is happening, Malcolm is like flirting with Sattler, and he's like, "This is chaos theory." Like, no one could have known that he was just going to get out of this car and run off down there. And she's like, "Yeah, that's my boyfriend. I need to go see where he's going." So they run down, and it's the sick Triceratops, and she's
big old Triceratops, isn't he?
Yeah, but like they're both delighted, and the two kids run down as well, and they're delighted to see who wouldn't be a dinosaur up close,
Oh well, why would you like? Theoretically, if you're paying that much money, I know they didn't because
but like even if you could see a dinosaur, like this is one that's that they can go over and they can put their hand on and stuff like that. It's
like 90% of the time I go to the zoo, I feel cheated.
Yeah,
because a lot of the animals are just like. Bleh.
Yeah, but I like that like they're trying to figure out what's wrong with the dinosaur and stuff, and then they get a call and it says like, "Listen, there's a storm incoming. You just need to get back now." Like,
yeah.
So they all go to get back in the cars except Sattler, who's like, "I'm going to stay here and help figure out what's wrong with this dinosaur."
She's like, "I'll go back in the gas-powered one."
Yeah, so she's in like an actual car, whereas they're in the electronic ones that kind of follow a set route. Yeah. So they're on the way back, and of course, while they're on the way back, Nedry has gone, right, it's time for me to put my plan into motion, which is to shut down all the systems.
I love how he makes his story here. He's like, "Oh, I'm just running some upgrades to systems. Some systems are going to be down for about 12 minutes."
Yeah, and he's just like, and I'm just going to go to the vending machine. Does anybody want anything in the vending machine? Like, what would he do if they said yes? Oh yeah, I'll have something. Crap.
No, he said. I'd say he would have just been like, "Yeah, okay, I'll bring it back."
Yeah, but he goes off, and this is somewhere where they should have questioned him straight away, because at first they're like, "Oh, the lights go out," and they're like, "Oh, what's going on here? Some of the doors are unlocked and the lights are out," and they're just like, "Well, Nedry did say that
the bug was gonna do it.
That some systems would shut down and stuff," and it's a smart plan on his behalf, because he's worked out, like he's timed it, he's done the steps and stuff, so the camera turns off just as he gets in, and he gets the vials of the embryos, so it's all sorted for him. And then they're like, some of the electronic fences seem to be turned off, and you're like, oh.
I wish they had done this in the way that Ian was with them there.
Yeah.
Just to see his reaction.
Yeah. But as the electronic fences turn off, the cars stop. And of course they stop outside the T-Rex enclosure.
Has to be.
Yeah, and
what can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, and the kids are in the car with the lawyer, and then Ian and Dr. Grant are in the
other one,
in the other car behind them, and the kid is playing around with stuff in the car, and he has a flashlight and stuff.
I love the lawyer here when he takes out the night vision.
Yeah.
He's like, "Are they heavy?" Yeah. Well, then they're expensive. Put them back.
Yeah. But they see that the goat is gone. And then...
Well, you hear it first.
Yeah, you hear the rustling, and then you notice that the goat is kind of gone, and then a leg just drops down on the
Where's
roof.
The goat gone?
Yeah. Big old leg of lamb, leg of goat just drops down on the roof there for you.
Just throw that in the boot there for me. I'll roast that up later.
Yeah. We see that we know that the electric fences are off. Now, obviously, none of them know that. The guys in the control room do, and they're panicking.
Imagine any time an electric fence goes down in this place. Oh, just to let you know, the Velociraptor electric pen is down for the minute. No need to panic.
Well, that's one thing that Bob does ask, is he's like, is the Raptors enclosure still up? And they were like, yeah. And he's like, okay, thank God. Like, which just shows that like he's not even worried about the fact that this T-Rex is going to get out. He is only concerned about those raptors.
Yeah, well, like again, they're the ones you can't really see. They're that small, that quick.
Yeah. But it's great. Like the lawyer sees the T-Rex, and he runs to the jacks. Fair enough.
He is chugging that go.
Yeah, but what I like is he runs to the jacks, and the two boys haven't seen the T-Rex yet in the car behind them, and they're like, "Where the hell's he going?" Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
He's such a dickhead, that lawyer.
Yeah. But then the kid has, like Tim, the little kid Tim has the light on, and he keeps moving it around.
She has the light, doesn't she?
No, he has it originally, and he keeps flicking it around, and then
Oh yeah, and Ian
he eventually has it, and they're both trying to turn it off.
Yeah, Sam Neill's like, yeah, turn the light off. Turn the light off.
Turn the light off. But the T-Rex, T-Rex can only see you when you move. So he can see this light flashing around. So he's attacked that car. And it looks like, they've got everything saved, because Dr. Grant gets out and he gets the flare, and he distracts the T-Rex and then throws it back into the T-Rex enclosure. And everything's sorted. Perfect. Until Dr. Malcolm goes...
Chaos theory comes along and fucks
Dr.
it up.
Malcolm's like, I got a better idea. I'll make it chase me.
Yeah.
Now,
this is brilliant.
His reasoning is that, he doesn't want it just back in the enclosure, because obviously,
it's just going to come back out.
It can come back out. And he's like, I want to get it away from the kids, because I want to make sure those kids are safe. So he goes running, and he runs.
He's doing a noble thing.
Yeah, he runs to the jacks with it, and he dives to the ground.
Now, I don't know if he does dive. I think the T-Rex hits him here.
He either dives or he gets knocked.
He is flying into that.
Yeah, but he's out cold anyway, and the lawyer, he screams. He's on the.
He looks up. He's on the jack. He's like, because it's refusing.
And a big old T-Rex standing over him. Of course, he's going to scream and try and get away, but he unfortunately doesn't get away. He gets chomped down pretty quick.
He meets his end.
Yeah, a quick little morsel for him. But as that happens, the kids are still in the car, flashing this light around. So when the T-Rex comes back, it starts nudging at the car and eventually overturns it.
Over the wall.
No, like he's overturned it, so they're like stuck underneath it. And Dr. Grant he gets Lex out, and then he's trying to get Tim out.
Tim's a dickhead.
He can't get Tim out, and eventually they have to climb over the wall to get away from the T-Rex.
Yeah.
And then the car gets knocked over as well, and it gets caught in a big tree. And the T-Rex he just goes off for a wander. He'll find something,
Well, hey, there's a park full of people. What more do you want? Well.
Yeah, but as he wanders off, we see that that Sattler has made it back to the headquarters, and they're like, where the hell is Nedry? And Nedry he's gotten into a Jeep and he's tried to make it down to the docks, but he's crashed into the sign that tells you where the docks are, so he just goes driving around.
Like, it's called the East Dock, right?
Yeah.
East usually is right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And he just puts the sign back up and spins it like a wheel of fortune.
And whichever way it landed, that's the way he went. But
I suppose he's got two choices. He's 50-50, really.
Yeah, but he goes off and drives off wherever he's going, and they're all back there, and they're like, we can't, the system's locked us out, and and they're like, the system's locked us out. We can't get in contact. The phones are gone. Everything's gone, and we can't get it back up without him. And Sattler comes back, and she's like, where are the rest of them? And they're just like, we don't know.
We've had an issue.
We've had an issue. So Ian Malcolm is knocked out.
We've had a minor issue.
Dr. Ian Malcolm's knocked out. Dr. Grant is down in this T-Rex enclosure with Lex safe, and he has to go up into this tree to get Tim out of the car.
What I don't understand here is, right, so they go in there to get away. That T-Rex was standing there, and that's probably about a 50 to 60 foot drop.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, like, there's certain things that didn't make sense to it.
Yeah, that's probably the worst part of this, that there was a massive drop, but like the T-Rex just walked over quite easily.
Yeah.
But he has to go up and get Tim out of this tree anyway. So he convinces him to get out of the car, and then they have to race down because the car is going to fall on top of them.
Okay, don't look there. Don't look up. Okay, go team, go.
Go. But, you know, he saves the two kids basically, and you know,
Like a true champ.
yeah, he saves the two of them, and then he's like, right, we'll climb up into this other tree and we'll sleep up here for the night because this is where we'll be safest.
This is another thing that doesn't make sense here, though.
Yeah,
Because that's the T-Rex pen, and then the next you see here is the bronchi.
oh well, no, they don't stay in there, do they? Sorry, they actually they do go off and they see the everything running through the
Oh yeah, sorry,
through,
yeah, they do, not they?
and they're like, oh, what's going on here? Look, they're all running, and then the big T-Rex comes out. They're like, oh crap.
Laggy.
So they sneak off, and that's when they go up and they find some other tree, and they're like, we'll stay here for the night now.
Yeah, that's where I'd have been staying till they found me.
Yeah, so like, we'll stay here for the night. But while all this is happening, poor Nedry has encountered
the
well,
Dilophosaurus.
he's encountered the Dilophosaurus because he's crashed his car because he can't see, and
His interaction with this is brilliant.
I don't have any food.
This is the Dilophosaurus, for people that haven't seen this or don't know, is pretty much the equivalent of a frilled neck lizard.
Yeah, it spits poisonous venom.
So it's like a cross between a frilled lizard and a spitting cobra.
Yeah, but he gets killed in the car. You know, you don't see anything. The worst you see is him getting, like, it's spitting in his eyes, and then he turns to the side when he's in the car, and it's just in the passenger seat.
Yeah,
and then
so,
you hear him screaming and
you
things
know,
like that.
When they made that, do you know the noise it makes?
Yeah.
Like, it's a cross between a rattlesnake, a swan, and a monkey.
It's mental how they come up with these
like,
noises.
There's no way that is what that actually sounded like. But obviously, you had to do it for a film.
They've had to make something, yeah.
But like the rattle for the rattlesnake in it is brilliant when he pulls his neck out.
Yeah, I do like that. You know, you see the embryos kind of fall into the mud.
Yeah, and then it's just muck.
They just get covered in this muck.
Yeah, because obviously the wheel is spinning.
Yeah, but that's the end of Nedry anyway. Back in the control center, they're like, listen, the only way we can get past what he's done is to shut down the system entirely.
And re-break it, or reboot it.
Yeah, so they do that, but in doing so, that means they've turned off the electric fence around the raptor pen. Which, you know, they turn it off and they boot it back up, and they're like, okay, we need to go to the main breakers now. So Ray says he'll go off and do that.
Yeah, as he does.
But he doesn't seem to be returning anytime soon. So
poor Ray.
Yeah. So Sattler says she'll go off and do it. Or they've gone out and they went out and they found Dr. Malcolm. And
in the
her and Bob in the car, and then just things in the wing mirror might be closer than they appear, and they just pick the T-Rex head behind them, just chasing them down. It's just brilliant.
And Malcolm in the back being like, "Go quicker!"
Yeah, but they get him back, and you know his leg is gone.
The amount of movies you see that in,
yeah,
like I think Texas Chainsaw was probably one of the first ones, with someone in the back of the car and him chasing it. And then like the amount of movies you see it in now, and you're like, it works so well.
Yeah, it's a great little shot to have. Yeah. But they get back and they're like, right, she's going to go turn on the main power breakers now. And Bob goes with her. And when she's on the way, Bob notices, he's like, we're being hunted. She's like, what? And he's like, over there, there's a raptor.
Do you know the gun he has here?
Yeah.
The Spaz 12 shotgun. At the time of making this, America considered that the most deadly close quarter weapon. That's why they put it in.
Yeah.
As that, because obviously it could defend you from anything from close quarters.
Yeah. What I like here is though that he points ahead and he's like, up ahead. He's like, you go in there.
You run.
And, then he's like, he looks to his left and he's like, oh, clever girl, because he's panicked and forgotten exactly how they hunt. Yeah, the one you see isn't the one that's going to get you.
That's what, like, he told them that.
Yeah, and he's just completely forgotten it because he's panicked.
But that's what I like, as it says there with the gun. Like that's supposed to protect you from anything up close.
Yeah, not if it dives you from the side though.
But I wouldn't even say it was just one. I'd say the other two were.
No, well, we know that one was ahead of him and one was to the side of him.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. I'd say the other one was probably coming up the back.
No, because that's what I always thought, but I don't think that is the case, because we find when she gets down into the
The other
power
one's
breaker
there,
room,
yeah.
the other one's down in there and has killed Ray, whose arm lands on her. Oh, Ray, thank God.
Poor Ray.
What I love,
you really forget Sam Jackson was in this.
yeah, he's only in it very shortly, but like he's a huge actor in it. What I love here is that there's two, like she's in complete panic mode, but Ian, like Dr. Grant, is off with the kids, and they have to get out of this enclosure, and he's like
just swanning around.
But I like that he's at the start of the film he's the real serious one, and she's kind of laid back and fun. Now she's in the real serious situation where she's turning back on each of these. So like,
yeah, well, the thing was trying to kill her.
Yeah, but even before that, she's like, she's been told, okay, flick this switch, then flick this, and while she's doing that, Dr. Grant is with the kids, and he's like, we're gonna have to climb over this fence, and he grabs the fence and like electric shocks himself, and they're like, ah, and he's like, ah, buddy, kid, just let's go.
Yeah, because I'm gonna climb the 100-foot fence.
So they climb as they're climbing over the fence, like him, like Grant and Lex get to the bottom, but Tim is slower getting over the fence.
He's some dickhead.
Yeah, but as he's coming down, she turns on the last switch, and he gets a big shock and gets thrown off the fence.
He gets 10,000 volts to the hands.
Yeah. Now they do revive him, which is impressive enough in itself.
I'd have left him.
Yeah, but in this point, Sattler's on her own, and Grant has got the kids back to where they started. Like where the food and everything is, and he goes to them. He says, "You stay there. I'm gonna see if I can go find help."
I'll tell you what though. That scene where he's like, we're being hunted. She fairly buckets that run.
Oh yeah.
Like she puts pedal to the metal and he's gone.
You'd want to be. Good luck. I'm gone.
Yeah, but like as he says, there's one up in front there, so they're hunting one of them. They're not gonna break and go for the two.
Yeah. So she just goes, right. Like I'm gone.
Yeah. If it's coming for me, it's coming for me. Fine.
Yeah. And you're not gonna outrun it anyway, so you may as well go for it if you're gonna go for it.
Well, you're gonna hammer at that door. Now, the funniest thing there would have been if the door was locked.
Yeah. But what we now hear is that she's locked one into that electrical room because they've got the power back on, so that door is now locked. And
that's a very vital scene you see in that, because you see her and the hands are coming, or the claws are coming around, and she's slamming it. Next thing you know, slams shut and locks.
Yeah, so she's they've locked one away, so we're down to two raptors out of the three now. And what I like here is that on the way back with the kids, Grant sees the eggs and he goes, "Oh, they are breeding in the wild." And then he explains to the kids, he's like, "Oh, it's because they use frogs, and certain frogs are known to change sex. If there's too many males or too many females, they will change sex." So that's how this has happened.
This is what we were saying earlier. Like the things they put in, there are certain animals, and then when Ian says nature will find a way, or life finds a way. Yeah. Like frogs do it, seahorses do it.
Yeah.
There's some animals that can do it asexually.
Yeah. So like they do tie back a few little bits in there, but this is when Grant meets back up with Sattler, and he's like, "Okay, the kids are back there in the the gift shop sort of area, like the gift shop and diner area. Like, let's go back and get them." So they head back there, but the kids have had to go hiding in a kitchen now because
God damn it, Phil!
Because for some reason somebody let two raptors out into the kitchen, so they're hidden.
Fucking Phil.
What I like here is that the raptors are smart. At first they hear something, so they start looking down that aisle, and then one of them jumps up onto the top of the table so it has a better view.
It's trying to force the move.
Yeah, and then she hides in the cabinet, and she's trying to pull it down. And I love this scene because you see the raptors sprint at her, but it doesn't understand reflections yet. Yeah. So it just cranes into this just into this metal thing. And she gets out and she runs off, and then Tim runs into the freezer,
As you do.
and then the raptor runs in, and obviously, you know, it has claws and stuff, so it slips, and he manages to close the door on it as well.
Which means, like, theoretically, that should be that dead.
Yeah. What I like here is though that at one point when Sattler meets back up with Grant, she's like, "Oh, I locked him in there. I locked one in there," and he's like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Unless they can learn how to open doors." And then a few seconds later, when they're coming into the kitchen, you see them.
Nibbling at the handle.
You see that they've worked out to like press down the handle, so that they have worked out how to open doors.
Yeah.
But they get back into the control room, and they're trying to force the door closed here, and that's when Lex sees the computer, and she's like, "Oh, I know how to get the doors back online."
Yeah, because a 7 or 8 year old or whatever she is, 10 or 12.
Yeah, but she works it out, you know, and they get the doors locked, and then it's up into
the crawl space,
and out into the into the main lobby again.
I love this though. Like, you see the raptor getting so close.
Yeah, what I love here is that they, you know, like they're in that main lobby and they get pinned in, so like they have one raptor on each side, and they know it. They're like, we're not getting out of this. Like, you know, he's explained earlier exactly how raptors hunt to that young kid, which is a very good scene to have had explained back then, because it tells you how vicious they are. It's not like they don't look for a kill, you know, they torture essentially.
Yeah.
And you know, things are looking bad for them, and that's when old Daddy T-Rex shows up to save the day.
What are you doing to these kids here, boy?
Yeah. So Daddy T-Rex shows up to save the day, and they.
Well, he doesn't actually show up. He just shows up for something to do, like.
Yeah, well, he shows up because there's some tasty looking raptors around there that he's gonna eat. He doesn't know he's saving the day, but he does end up saving the day. So they run off with Hammond, and they get into the helicopter with Hammond and Ian Malcolm, and they're like, "I'm not going to sign off on your park," and he's like, "Yeah, fair."
Why not? Sure.
And then
we were almost eating. Of course, I'm not going to sign off on it.
So they just fly off, and that's the end of it. It's just for the way it ends. It's a bit of a a weak ending, but like
I love the ending to this.
Yeah, like they just fly off.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I generally love the ending to this because you know straight away
there's got to be a number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's not exactly a weak ending, but it's also not an ending either. You know, it's kind of like
if
they got away.
If they never made 2, you'd be really pissed.
Yeah, but that's what I like. It's, you know, oh, they got away, but it's not like, oh, they got away and stopped it. That island is still infested with dinosaurs that we now know can reproduce.
Like, how many of them have reproduced?
Yeah, exactly. So we know that there's, you know, a number 2 coming along here.
Number two is quality.
Yeah.
Now it's a shame Sci-Fi July can only come around once, but maybe in a while we might.
We'll get around to Jurassic Park 2 at some point, I'm sure. But
three isn't an option.
we might do 3. We'll see. But like as you said, like I absolutely love this film. Like I enjoy it so much. It's just it's good. As we said, like there is, you know, they leave little trails behind of, you know, oh, this is going to be important later, but at the same time you can just shut your mind off, and if you don't recognize those things, you still enjoy it. Like it's still,
oh yeah,
you can just turn your brain off and just wait for dinosaurs to attack people.
They reference everything that they left in this one in the next one anyway.
Yeah, but
anything you need to remember, you didn't have to see this theoretically.
Oh yeah, it's, you know, you're going to watch the next one and it's just dinosaurs attacking people. Grand again.
Yeah, jackpot.
Yeah, that's, you know, you go in Jurassic Park. Now, I've said it to people in the past, if a Jurassic Park was made now, I'm still going to go, even though I know exactly how it's going to turn out, because I've seen so many films about it. I know that things are going to go wrong and dinosaurs are going to be free. And I have no expectation that I'd make it out alive, but there's no chance I'm skipping a chance to see a Jurassic Park.
If it happened to happen in our lifetime, you'd have to have Jeff Goldblum saying, as you walk in, life finds a way.
Yeah, and I'd go, like, just flat out. Now, you know that one of those dinosaurs is going to escape and try and kill you. Yeah, I know, but
I'll take my chances. There's going to be loads of people there. What's the odds it kills me?
I'm going to take my chance to go see the dinosaurs, you know. Enough people survive each each film that I can
I can,
I'm expecting that I won't survive, but I'll be happy if I do, sort of thing.
yeah, well, it's not like you can't go and see dinosaurs, crocodiles. There's Komodo dragons in London Zoo.
Yeah, but not big T-Rexes, man.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I want to see, the big T-Rex strolling around. And, all you have to do is stay still and then he won't come near you, so you're sound.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, I would say, though.
But yeah, Steven Spielberg, this along with the likes of E.T. and Jaws, and Hook.
He was in it. He was in a real solid, like he was in a real zone for those couple of years. Like he was,
well, even
had to have been the biggest director at the time. Like,
but like, yeah, you think about it, like you done Jaws in what 75 or whatever.
Yeah, but that stretch of time, he was just knocking it out of the park.
But like at the 80s, I can't think off the top of my head. Did he do loads around the 80s? Maybe not as much.
Maybe not loads, but like
he done
Indiana.
Jaws and he done Indiana Jones. Him and George Lucas, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. So like he was still knocking it out of the park for quite a while. Like.
But like when he hit the late 80s, early 90s, and he went on the stretch of the likes of Hook, this Schindler's List, E.T.
Oh yeah.
He was by far and away the biggest director. Like even now, you'd still say he's one of the biggest directors.
Oh yeah, he's.
If you want to make money in the cinema, you put Steven Spielberg's name to it. The movie's shite, it's shite.
Yes.
With him on it, it's very rarely going to be shite.
Yeah, he takes a lot of pride in his work. He's not taking things on that he doesn't believe in.
Yeah.
Which is why I was glad that he did take this on and he did such a good job with this. Whatever people think about the later films, this first one can't be denied.
You can generally tell in a film franchise or series, like when the original director has set a motion and the way that it's directed, and then they go to a sequel that he didn't do, you can see it.
Yeah, but this is one of the best films for sci-fi in terms of obviously sci-fi has lots of different, like you have time travel, you have stuff, but like this isn't time travel. This is dinosaurs.
What? Dinosaurs don't exist anymore? Oh wait, no, John Hammond has created dinosaurs.
Yeah, so
what more do you want?
And as we've said before, like there's kind of creature features where the creatures hunt the people. There's a very small hunt scene in this, and it's basically the raptors hunting them down. Outside of that, it's not really nobody's hunting anybody.
What I like about this is though it's led to you that the T-Rex is the main protagonist.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's just taken away.
Yeah. And well, that's because the T-Rex is the big scary guy. You're just naturally assuming he's the baddie, like.
Yeah, but no, that's what I mean. Like, and then all of a sudden, when you see him out in the field or out in the forest, and he's like clever girl, and you're like, oh, you sneaky bastards.
Yeah, but no, I really enjoyed rewatching this, and you obviously did when you watched it with Finn.
Yeah.
But for this episode, we'll call it there, and we will be back with number 2 at some point, and
we'll be moving into
action for August now. So
yeah, it doesn't quite have the same ring as Sci-Fi.
No, Sci-Fi July is the better one, but Action August will be good.
Action August, and I think we have a guest lined up somewhere in there.
We have a few guests lined up, so you'll have to wait and see who comes there. But
stay tuned.
for this week, that's it. Good luck.